How blockbuster movies keep you broke. You probably saw the movie Titanic. If not, you're one of the last people on earth who hasn't. In fact, that movie is one of the highest grossing film ever released. The first scene of the movie opens with Happy-Go-Lucky Jack. Now why is he happy-go-lucky? Because he's poor. He's only on the cruise because he won the trip in a card game, right?
So we're going to America. Full house, boys!
So the first lesson we learn is that poor people are carefree and untroubled. As they portray, the poor only have problem with money but nothing else. Just think about all the problems rich people have. What if the butler calls in sick, and have you seen the high cost of helicopter maintenance these days? In scene 2, we meet Rose. Now Rose is decidedly not happy. Why? Because she has to marry the boring rich guy. If you remember, her mother admonishes her to suck it up and go through with the wedding for the sake of the family. So the second lesson we learn, subconsciously, of course, is that you have to sell your soul and trade happiness for money. As the movie develops, another critical scene shows Rose eating in the first-class dining room. She is surrounded by all these dreary, stuffy, rich people who are sipping brandy, smoking cigars, and blathering inanely about polo matches and superficial nonsense. Jack comes along and tells Rose, "Come on down to third class, and let me show you how to party."
So you want to go to a real party?
Next, the movie cuts away to the poor people, who of course are singing, dancing, and having fun, showing us how much nicer and more fun they are to be around than those ponderous, nasty, and rigid rich people. What's the subconscious programming here? Rich people are no fun. Poor people are the ones you want to hang out with. And if you want to be accepted and fit in with the crowd, something most people strive for all their lives, beginning in childhood, then you most certainly are better off being a poor person. Before going on, if you feel that I have given you some value, please help me by smashing the like button, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell, so you will be updated when I upload new videos like this. Next, you will see rich people try to sneak into lifeboats or bribe their way on. Rose's wealthy fiancé even snatches a baby from its mother's arms in an effort to catch a ride. Remember that memes involving emotion and children are particularly strong. So can you imagine the subconscious reaction imprinted upon your mind as you watch some selfish rich guy steal a baby from its mother to save his own skin? We see the rich people rowing into the horizon, as the water gurgles over the poor bastards chained up in the lower decks. We see a brave, poor mother as she calmly tells her children that they are going to go downstairs and sing church hymns until they drown. Level, after level, after level, this movie subconsciously programs you that money is bad, rich people are evil, and it is good, even spiritual, to be poor. And nothing could be further from the truth. Okay, you might say that is just one movie. I will give you another blockbuster. Take Spider-Man, for example. In the first Spider-Man, who was the villain? The billionaire rich guy. By the way, who was the villain in the Fantastic Four, and almost every James Bond movie ever made? The rich guy. But back to our web-weaving crusader. Remember when poor Peter Parker finally met up with the girl next door whom he had secretly worshipped from afar for years? They each go to throw the garbage out at the same time. Their eyes meet. She begins talking to Peter, and the sparks start flying. Then what happens?
Hey, Emerson, come take a ride, my new birthday present. Come on.
I gotta go.
The rich kid pulls up in his brand new car, which is evil, rich daddy just bought him for his birthday. The girl shrieks with delight, drops Peter along with the garbage, hops into the car, and they drive off, leaving Peter scorned, dejected, and alone. On a subconscious level, how do you think that makes you feel about rich people? There's even a part in the movie when Peter's uncle says the most famous lack programming words ever spoken. We may not be rich, but at least we're honest. Ever heard anything like that? What does that really mean? Let me translate. Be glad you are poor. That means you are honest, noble, and a good person, because rich people lie, cheat, and steal. That's why something you may have heard from a parent or teacher when you were 10 could be impacting your core beliefs 20, 30, even 40 years later. When you are young and impressionable, things you hear from people in authority create an indelible effect on you. Now why was Peter's uncle raising him? Because he was an orphan. Remember, memes are strongest when they are emotional and involve children. What could grab your heart more than a poor little orphan? So Spider-Man was an orphan. Come to think of it, so was Batman. and Superman, Wonder Woman, Harry Potter, the Boxcar Children, and the Lemony Snicket Kids are all orphans. Do you detect a pattern here? You may be starting to wonder whether this is a conspiracy among writers to manipulate you. It isn't. They are infected with the same memes and don't even know they are replicating them. In the sequel, Peter loses his pizza delivery job because he stopped to save two little kids who were about to be run over by a truck. This reinforces the meme that noble people sacrifice their own good and happiness for others, which will create more negative and dysfunctional relationships, because we certainly don't have enough of those around. Then to make it just perfect, the heartless boss is an East Indian, reinforcing the meme that those money-grubbing immigrants are here stealing all the good jobs from hard-working Americans. In Spider-Man 2, the girl gets pushier, pressing Peter to make her an honest woman. Again, Peter is conflicted between pursuing his own happiness or wrapping thugs in spider webs. So he asks his aunt, who is now sorting her possessions on the street, what to do. She tells him that there are special people in the world, people who sacrifice everything that is important to them to serve others for the greater good. Is that sweet or what? Not just blockbuster movies, TV shows too share these thoughts, such as Hollywood, Bollywood, Hong Kong, and movie makers everywhere have learned the lesson well. The more a movie conforms to your beliefs, the more certain you are to like it. Of course, it's not just the movie studios. Television is just as guilty, and a lot more dangerous to your health, happiness, and prosperity. Because you are probably exposed to TV or videos on video streaming sites more than any other media. Think about how millionaires and billionaires are portrayed on the small screen. The entire premise of shows like the Beverly Hillbillies is that rich people are snobby, pretentious buffoons, and poor people are kind-hearted, good folk with common sense. Think back to the way those adulterous, lying, cheating, and conniving rich people were portrayed on Dallas, Dynasty, and similar shows. Instant replay, the same tune is played over and over. Unfortunately, books, magazines, and newspapers continue the negative programming of their electronic counterparts. Think about this, how many books have you read where the guy gives up everything to get the girl? Or books that play out the same scenarios as the TV and movie scripts I've described, where rich people are evil and poor people are spiritual. I remember reading a John Grisham novel about a lawyer from a big downtown law firm who meets a homeless person. The lawyer quits his job and goes to work at a law clinic for street people. Along the way, he divorces his wife, sells his Lexus to buy an old beater, and moves into a dumpy apartment with no heat and furniture so he can be like his clients. How romantic. How stupid. Of course, this book also became a monster bestseller. But how many people could that lawyer have helped if he had stayed at his $200,000 a year job at the big firm? What if he got the partners to each agree to work half a day a month for free in the law clinic? What if he went to the other members of the bar association in his hometown and got them to do the same thing? Those homeless people would have more lawyers than they'd know what to do with. But you will never see that book, because it would never get published. No one wants to hear about rich people staying rich and helping others. We want to hear that money and what it can buy aren't important. We want to read that someone gave it all away for love. The irony of all this is that the people who sell you this stuff get very rich. Grisham is now one of the wealthiest authors in the world. James Cameron made about $200 million from Titanic, teaching you that it is spiritual to be poor. Now, again, it's not that there's an organized conspiracy to keep you broke. The people involved in spreading these memes usually don't even know what they're doing. Screenwriters look back at classics to see what was popular. Television writers just regurgitate old concepts again and again. The cycle of programming repeats, and the resulting beliefs are embedded in society. But we haven't even got to the worst part. The most dangerous part of the whole programming equation, the victimhood and entitlement mentality it creates in you. It just programs your mindset into thinking that you are where you're because the rich, the capitalists, are milking money from you. They are the cause of your miserable life. It is not your fault that you are poor. Well, I am not saying you only have yourself to blame if you are poor. There are many reasons to why someone is poor, but in fact, most of the time that happens in a first world country with opportunities are the mindset itself. Therefore, we should not be thinking that we are the victim of our own state, but instead we should learn from the rich and do what they are doing. In my line of work, I have met thousands of different people. One common point I see in the so-called more successful people are their knowledge and mindset. They are constantly reading up, gaining knowledge of what is happening and how something works. And their mindset of overcoming obstacle and trying to do it before thinking about the cons of it. For example, people that are more entrepreneur will think of starting that business as soon as possible. They can learn while doing it and gaining experience from it. They will understand fully how it works after hands-on. On the other hand, people who are less entrepreneur will be thinking of the obstacle of doing it. For example, what if the customer complains? What license do I need? How much do I need to rent an office? Where do I print my name cards? What if I can't find people who are experienced to do the job? I need to spend some time to learn first, and usually it is 6 months to 1 year, whereby the passion to start is long gone. Remember, you decide your own life and don't let movies or TVs ruin your life. Start learning or doing something now instead of whining if you are. If you like my video, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and comment down below what other movies you can think of. Thank you.